You're listening to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hendricks, and here we discuss topics on personal fitness, well-being, and elevation of mind and body. Join us as we help build and grow a community of real, elevated men and women. If you're currently feeling frustrated, flat, and fed up with life, or want to be a physically and mentally elevated individual, you're invited to join us each and every week here on the Real Elevation podcast. Welcome to the RE family and get ready to elevate your mind and body. Welcome to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hendricks, and today we have another outstanding, informative, and elevating show for you. I'd like to welcome all first-time listeners to the podcast. And be sure to stay to the end of the show where I'll be sharing all my social media links where you can connect with me and the Real Elevation community as we continue to grow, share the word about how you can find freedom through fitness. Welcome back, guys. Wonderful to have you here with me. Another wonderful show exploring some powerful insights, which I am sure you will get maximum benefit from. So today we're diving into something that's often overlooked but essential for your vitality, your strength and your well-being, even your mood, especially as we get older. Now we know as we age, our body's ability to utilize key nutrients can start to decline. Add the fact that our modern day diets, our behaviors, even the soil that are depleted in key minerals, and you've got a recipe for silent deficiencies. And this is why supplementation, when done correctly, is so important. And one of the big supplements that we're going to talk about is magnesium. Now, magnesium, we know, especially here in the Western world, here in the UK, many people are deficient in magnesium. We were talking about this week in one of my cohorts that I work with. We're talking about supplementation and how vitamin D and the supplement mineral magnesium, many of us here are deficient in those two. Now, we know that with regards to magnesium, it's involved with, I think, over 250 to 300 biochemical reactions in the body. So we're talking about things like muscle and nerve function, energy production, the quality of our sleep, even how you deal with and manage the stresses in your life. They're all impacted by the amount of magnesium we have present in our system. So it's very important that we understand that taking magnesium on board and we have the right levels of magnesium, but as I say, for many of us, that is not the case. So if you've been feeling like you're not yourself recently, you've been feeling tired, maybe a bit anxious, a bit achy, struggling to recover, this episode will do you right. It will help you connect the dots. We're going to talk about 5 signs you're magnesium deficient and what to do about it. So, defeat your current decline. 5 signs you're magnesium deficient and what to do about it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So as always, remember to take notes, write down, because some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you, you may be able to relate to. And obviously we can give you some action steps on how you can actually combat that. Okay, let's jump into number 1, muscle cramps or muscle twitches. Now, have you ever found yourself in a position where your calves feel tight at night, or you've got random cramps in the certain muscles in the body, or your eyelids are twitching that won't stop, or you seem to be twitching involuntarily, you can't control it? That is a classic magnesium red flag sign. So magnesium, we know, plays a central role in muscle activation. We touched on this in the intro, specifically with muscle relaxation. So without enough magnesium in the system, our muscles can contract involuntarily. So if you ever found yourself in that situation, and I've done it before in the past when I felt my eyelids twitching involuntarily, don't seem to want to stop, that's a sign that I'm deficient in magnesium. Now, like with all these points we're going to talk about today, we need to start thinking about how we can increase our magnesium uptake. So we can start by increasing magnesium-rich foods in our diet. So we're talking about things like spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds, quality organic dark chocolate. They can all help us naturally increase the amount of magnesium that we have in our diet. And if that doesn't seem to work after you've tried that, we can then look at supplementing specifically with the magnesium type, which is magnesium glycinate. This is very good for helping with involuntary muscle contractions and helping to the muscles to relax. So number one, muscle cramps or muscle twitches. If that's something that you've noticed, it may be time to consider taking an increase or making an increase in your magnesium in your diet. Number two, poor sleep or waking up feeling unrefreshed. Now, I know for many people this is a big one. A lot of people go to bed, sleep, but they wake up feeling fatigued, even more so maybe than when they went to bed on a night time. So magnesium, we know, supports the production of GABA, also known as GABA. And this is a neurotransmitter that promotes calm and deep sleep. So we know when we get into that deep sleep, that's the restorative sleep, the regenerative sleep, the sleep that allows us to replenish, revitalize, re-energize. And that's the sleep that we want to get as much of as possible. Now, low levels of magnesium can leave you in that light sleep. So you're tossing and turning. And when you wake up, you're feeling groggy and unrefreshed. Even if you've been down in bed for 7, 8, 9 hours, you wake up feeling tired. So again, step is magnesium increase. We can look to do this maybe before we go to bed. So this is where the supplementation comes in. And we can look to take a good quality magnesium supplement 1 to 2 hours before bed. Again, the one that I would look at recommending is the magnesium form of glycinate. That will help us relax. Yeah. If you're thinking about taking a particular supplement, the other one that you could take in terms of magnesium is magnesium threonate. So that is another one that you can consider when you're looking to supplement to help you get a better, more functional, more productive night sleep. Another thing that you can do, and this is nothing directly to do with supplementation, but we've spoke about this before in terms of your bedtime routine. What does that look like? If you're going to bed and waking up feeling unrefreshed, feeling tired, feeling fatigued, what is your current bedtime routine like? Are you making plans to signal to the body, to the central nervous system, that it's time to sleep? So maybe playing some relaxing music, making sure you're dimming the lights in the house, making sure you're not stimulating the brain by looking at a screen, TV for too long. These things can all help. So as well as that supplementation, think about your bedtime routine. Okay, number 3, low energy or chronic fatigue. Low energy or chronic fatigue. Are you someone who's typically, when it comes to midday, feeling wiped out? Now, magnesium is critical for ATP production, and that's our body's energy currency. Now, without it, our cells literally can't make the right type of energy efficiently. So we need that ATP production, and magnesium obviously helps with that. So back to supplementation. Additional foods that we know that can help, we've talked about it again, such as those almonds, those pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate, spinach is another one that can all help us increase the amount of magnesium that we're taking on a daily basis. So other thing you need to consider as well is look at what foods that may be depleting your magnesium. So we know excessive caffeine, excessive amounts of alcohol, stressors in your life, they can all contribute to a reduction or depletion of magnesium in the body. So look to understand where you can look to increase the magnesium, taking more supplementation through natural food, and look at where you may be diminishing or depleting your magnesium stores by having too much caffeine, too much alcohol, or too many stressors that you're not managing effectively in your life. Okay, number 4, anxiety and low mood. So we know there's a lot going on around about us in the world right at the moment that can make us feel anxious, make us feel stressed. and contribute to a low mood. Magnesium has a great calming effect on the nervous system and helps us regulate cortisol, which we know is a stress hormone. Studies show that magnesium deficiency is linked to increased anxiety, irritability, and can even cause depression. So ask yourself this question right now. What is my mood like on most days? Is it upbeat? Is it positive? Is it optimistic? Or is it the reverse of that? Is it pessimistic? Is it downward? Is it something that's constantly bugging you that you just can't seem to put your finger on? It may be something as simple as magnesium levels in your body not being optimized. So, as always, think about your magnesium intake naturally. Think about those foods we spoke about before. Then, if you've tried to increase those foods over a few days and weeks and you've not noticed a shift, then you can look at supplementation. Also, consider taking the supplementation, increasing your magnesium intake naturally with other things, other practices. So you could do things like journaling. You could do things like deep breathing. You could practice mindfulness. Doing these things can all help us manage our mood more effectively, boost our blood flow to the brain, helps us look at things in more perspective and a more calming and more controlled and more measured angle, so we can then look to manage our anxiety much more effectively. So try those steps. Try managing that mood. Try managing your anxiety by journaling, praying, meditating, practicing mindfulness, as well as taking those supplementations. And number 5, high blood pressure or an irregular heartbeat. Now, I know for many of us, as we get older, paying attention to our cardiorespiratory system is very important. And one of the simplest things that you can do, a way to do that, is to check and monitor your blood pressure. Blood pressure monitors are quite easy to access now. You don't have to pay a huge amount of money for them. But magnesium helps blood vessels to relax, which supports healthy blood pressure. So remember that if you've got high blood pressure, what's our magnesium intake like? Deficiency can cause our hearts and the blood vessels to work harder than they necessarily need to. And an irregular heartbeat is another serious signal that something's not quite right, potentially with the amount of magnesium in the system. Now, the only way you're going to know that you have an irregular heartbeat or you have high blood pressure is to test it, get a monitor. You can pick them up anywhere online now, between 15 up to £100 if you want a medically graded blood pressure monitor. You don't need to spend that one. You just need to know what your blood pressure is, what your heartbeat is doing on a regular basis by measuring it. If you find out that you've got high blood pressure, if you notice you may be having regular heartbeats or palpitations, speak with a GP. Don't mess about with this one. Speak with a medical professional like a GP and get the magnesium levels checked. In the meantime, you can do things or take responsibility, take things into your own hands and take things like dark leafy green vegetables, try some Epsom salts, and try relaxing in a warm bath to help calm you down. That can help bring the blood pressure down. Right kind of cardiovascular exercise is also key, but you would need to speak with a medical professional first before you embark upon that journey. So first of all, test. If you find out or you establish that you do have an irregular heartbeat or your blood pressure is high, act on the advice that you get from that medical professional. All right, so there are 5 signs there that you may notice that has an impact on your magnesium levels. So defeat your current decline. That's what we're titling the podcast today. 5 signs you're magnesium deficient and what to do about it. So a quick recap on the 5 signs of magnesium deficiency. Muscle cramps or muscle twitches. Poor or unrestful sleep. Low energy or fatigue. Number 4, we talked about anxiety and low mood. And 5, we said about high blood pressure and an irregular heartbeat. So, takeaway today, magnesium is a vital foundation for your health, especially as we get over the age of 40, 45, going into our 50s. And deficiency is far more common than we think. We spoke about it today, been tested. Many of us here in the UK, in the Western world, are magnesium and vitamin D deficient. The good news is easily correctable. So with the right foods, the right kind of smart supplementation, and a few mindful lifestyle tweaks, we can make some big changes in the way we're feeling and the way we're functioning with an increase in magnesium in the system. So if any of these signs resonate, take it as your body's gentle nudge to just pay attention. Don't stress, don't get too worried about it. Start small, be consistent, as you've heard me say before, and you'll feel a big difference in your energy, your sleep, the way you're producing, the way you're performing, and your overall well-being and your vitality. Now, if this episode struck a chord with you or resonated with you, here's what I'd like you to do next. I'd like to pick one of those action points, whichever one it was, and look to implement it. So if you're feeling that unrestful sleep, think about looking about your bedtime routine. If you're struggling at the moment with maybe low mood and a bit of anxiety, think about introducing some mindful practices. These things can help. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do, if you're ready for a deeper support with your health, you want to boost your energy levels, feel more vital without spending long, boring hours in the gym, I'd like you to book a free call with me and we can talk about how we can get you on the road to rejuvenation and how the Real Rejuvenation Program could potentially help with you. So they're the two things I'd like you to do. I'll leave all the links in the show notes where you can access information on the next step for you. So, I trust you found today's episodes insightful and helpful. And remember, take it steady, don't rush. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Your vitality is improving. You can take responsibility and get back on that road to rejuvenation. So remember, be well, be wise. Be cool, be calm, and keep it real. Blessings and chi. Peace.